Good morning. As you can see, this is getting green. That is the sun hemp and friends. This has been irrigated yesterday at dawn, and it looks very wet, which is very good. And now at about 9 o'clock we continue until maybe 11, 12, depends a little bit. And then we continue again in the late afternoon, shortly before and around sunset, so that this stays quite moist. We are above 20% here at the two places where we measure. So one is there and the other one is over there. And the sensor that reports the highest moisture level is that one, interestingly enough, because there it does not look wet, while the other that reports less is in a zone that is definitely looking moist. This here is the second part. This is A12, and the irrigation here has not been finished yet, but we have prepared as much as we can. We are waiting for the remaining wobblers. We ran out of them, but we still have a few, and they will be installed now. And then the other thing that we are waiting for is a long electrical cable, about 300 meters. And then we can have automation here. So the electricity will come through that cable. That will go all around the perimeter, all the way to the farmyard, and will then be connected there. But the network will be Wi-Fi. So we do have Wi-Fi here at this point, and we will install an additional access point for the local devices. We already have another Rainbird controller with 8 ports, and because we will have Wi-Fi here, we will also have 2 cameras here, so that we can see these 2 areas and also detect any intrusion that might happen at night. And whatever might happen is interesting to see. It's because we can. So here some plants have already started to emerge all by themselves. Also, this is just the residual moisture from before. So the Scrotellaria huncea, sun hemp, and the sunflower apparently does not need a lot of moisture, which is very good. It's the perfect summer plant for our purposes, and it has been emerging without irrigation. So here I can show you an example. Yeah, there it is. So a little bit is enough for this to start going. But then of course it will die off. We made this experience before, when we do not provide some water. So the irrigation is there to keep it alive and make it grow very well, so that in 3-4 months we can then decide what to use it for. And there are several options. The horses, there is one, seems to be solo, because the 2 mares, yeah, they are over there. You might be able to spot them at a distance, so that they can feed on it. Or we cut and carry and provide this to Sacagewea. We can't bring her here and let her graze because she's blind and she cannot see, so she will destroy all the installation. Or we simply let it grow, go to seed, and then cut it for mulch later, so that it will decompose and provide ground cover. And later, this will be a place where we have a lot of palovnia trees. So basically, the palovnia trees will sit in the middle of this lane here. So there's the irrigation, a row of palovnia trees, and then there another row of palovnia trees. So is the plant. But it will not be only palovnia trees. There will be more things. But the palovnia trees, that is going to be the cash crop here. So this is now a different focus. So here the idea is to actually generate an income from the sale of wood later when the palovnia trees have grown. Let's see how this goes. And we have about 10-12 years to wait until we can actually get a benefit out of this. But while the palovnia trees grow, we certainly can do other things between the trees and below them. And one of the ideas is to do things with poultry here. But first, this all needs to grow, and until you see here some poultry, that's certainly 2 years out. This is the thing in agriculture. You have to be a little bit long-term thinking. It does not happen overnight, and especially not quarter by quarter.
No va a revés, Andrés. Un nivel más chiquito, ¿no? ¿Qué es así? No te rascas. Tampoco hace falta que se use perfecto, sí. Es para que aguante los niños. Sí, pero si lo pones de nivelado, a lo mejor se queda el agua más coja que... Hombre, eso sí, claro. Que va a dar ayuda para que el agua no... Eso no yo creo que... No se queda tampoco muerto, ¿no? No se queda tan alto, ¿no? Si no...
So this here is going to be the foundation for a water tank, so that we have 3,000 liters available that can then be distributed with a pump, a new pump, only for the farmyard. And the pipe there that currently comes directly from the well is then feeding this tank, and the pump will suck the water out of it. Of course, we need to balance a little bit the flow. So this delivers 2,500 liters per hour. The tank is going to be 3,000, and the pump can deliver 3,500. Of course, that does not work out. So we need to be a little bit careful how much we pump out and all these details. But that's the tank that we have available right now. Of course, we can always add another one or make this bigger. But at least that way we have a little bit more water available so that we can drive more warblers at the same time. Hello, it is early afternoon I have the sun in my back and I want to go for a walk and take you along and show you a few things that have happened. So it's going to be an update. And the first thing that I can show you is that we continue to have a leak here, but this will be fixed soon when that line gets connected on the other side. So then this piece that's leaking will no longer be there. So the thing that I wanted to show you here is something in the back, which happens to be our zone B. And here's Mr. Cat. He has this here temporarily. He has a bowl over there, but he always comes running, and so I just give it here to them. And I did that because I installed another camera there. So this is now chicken TV. And later I will try to grab some of the recordings and put it here into this video. So this is a Ubiquiti G5 bullet camera, and there is an Ethernet cable that's currently running over there through the air. I intend to put a steel cable there first, so that the steel holds the weight and not the Ethernet cable and the plastic and all that, to make this a little bit better. I have it already there, I just need to go up there and attach to it. Attach it to the post. So now let's go into here and let me show you a little bit our backside basically. So the chicken are hiding in there. It is cooler in there and they are not in the direct sunlight, but I saw them being there taking a dust bath in the sun, so that's very good. So this area here we call B3. This used to be a paddock, and Sacagewea, while blind, has been in here, and then she managed to climb over the fence there in the back and showed up here in the front. So somehow she figured out the way. Also there is a trench as well, and something bad could have happened. That's why also the water is still there. So this is basically a reserve. But let's see how this area here looks like. So we do have our round pen there. And when we want to do something with horses we can. But there isn't much going on at the moment. And you can see that this area there, let me go there first, is pretty much eaten up. So the 6 sheep in Sacagewea, they roam this place. You see the manure here. And step by step, they eat everything. So this is basically standing hay, and here it stood. They have their water over there. Their tank is always full. And this is how the area looks like. I see a sheep there. And I take you along so that you get some impression. I have to waste half an hour before I can walk to A11, which is where the sunhemp and front is growing and where the irrigation is installed. Unfortunately, we did not install the automation today as I hoped. So therefore I have to do this manually. But next week it should be automated. So there in the background you can see the sheep running. Those sheep are not used to being handled and therefore they run away. Which is okay, but of course it would be smarter to run away from a predator and not from me. But then I can be a predator. So this is where the excavator left us with a big pile of stones. So when we want to build something, we can use them. And you see how this area looks like. So if you have grazing animals in the Dehesa, after a very nice spring with a lot of growth, step by step it all gets eaten up, and that's perfectly normal. This is how it's supposed to be. So I intend to loop around here and then show you a little bit from the wannabe food forest, where a lot of plants are missing. The same goes for this area here. You see those fence posts there? There is another thicker one. So that was when we had more people here, but long-time viewers know what happened. And the idea still is to fence this whole area in, so that eventually we have to the left an area that is fenced in, and here to the right an animal lane, where we could also drive along with a machine. There is Sacagewea. She hears me and she wants to say hello. She is blind, but she does behave the same way as before. So she definitely cannot see a thing. You see, this does nothing. But she's a very good horse, mare, and she's very sweet and knowledgeable, which is why she can survive this way. And all these rocks here, this is not a problem for her. There are the sheep. You see, she's following me because she really likes it. So these 6 girls are running away. This whole area here is earmarked to do something with pigs. And when the time comes, then you will see. You see? She wants to come along. And you can hear Mr. Cat as well. So now that we have reached this area, you can peek in here. There's fresh manure. Yeah, you did that. You did it well. There's still plenty of food, but then summer is long, and I am growing a little bit worried about what to feed Sacagewea and the sheep. So there are 2 options. We can cut and carry, and we have a device to cut, and soon I will also have a trailer, a small trailer that I can tow with my Jeep. It's not the perfect thing, and especially shout out to you guys in the US. Yeah, you have a different situation with those pickup trucks. They are made for towing, and in Europe trailers are not very common, especially not big ones. So it's usually a thing of having a real truck, but in the UK it's called a lorry. And yeah, it's a different thing. So I will have something to occasionally even transport a sheet of plywood. But we can use that, and we have built a trailer ourselves, so this one would be suitable because it has no, it's not roadworthy or streetworthy or legal, but we can use it, and we have the BCS with the mower attachment, and that means we can go, for example, up there on the other side and cut and bring them something. So that's definitely an option instead of buying straw. So here, this is now the wannabe food forest. We still have a limitation what the flow, regarding the flow. So you can see there are 2 wobblers that are not rotating, or actually 3, but there is water coming out of them, and that is better than nothing. So I want these trees to receive some water, and it seems to work. So they are making leaves. Of course they have been affected by the cold, and therefore the leaves are still small, but they're not dead, they are growing, so that's okay. And once we have a more powerful pump, then this will then work. But for the time being, we have only those 2,500 liters per hour, and of course it's a long way from the pump to here, so therefore we are quite limited, and I believe it's 2,500. But this pump that we have here is to pump water out of a well into a storage tank. This is not really made for irrigation. There are other pumps for that. But when we bought these pumps, we wanted water for animals, and that's a totally different thing. So you have to do one thing or the other. It is not the same. You need different type of equipment. So you can see maybe that here the water circle is very small, and of course it's not wobbling. And in the next one the water circle is wider, it's also not wobbling. And the trees, yeah, they look not so nice, but there's a green trunk and there are leaves, so this tree is trying. The cold had affected them, the frost in early May. So the third wobbler from the end is also not wobbling, but there's water coming out of it. And now you can't really see it because I am too low and they are on the other side. Well, there you might be able to spot it. There is a fourth one that's also not wobbling, but the others, they do wobble. So here you can see one that's wobbling. Let's get a bit closer. So there is a wobbling wobbler. And you see that Albizia here, that one and this one here, they also were affected by that very same frost. So this wasn't very nice what happened. There is water underneath here, of course. That is all that water that we had in here in spring. But all this definitely needs a little bit of help and improvement. And I have not been able to cut here because I'm missing the tool. It is still en route. Soon it should appear. And then I can start doing some maintenance here to bring light in there. I'm worried about the vetiver that sits there. But I can see it. It seems growing and with a little bit of additional moisture. that should then also work. And no, I'm not so happy with the way this wobbles. There's simply not enough flow. But something is something, and the reason why it does not wobble as I want is I have something else open that takes a little bit away, but it's also a needed place, or a needy place, to put it that way. So this is work in progress. We focus right now on the other irrigation where I want to take you. So there, or here at the wannabe food forest, we did something in order to not let this fall dry and have losses. So here I am now walking where it is a bit difficult. The stuff is all dry, but it still makes walking a challenge. Let's see. I wish I had a machete now. I could cut open a path here, because that stuff is a little bit ugly. It gets into your clothes. So this here to the right is another area where I would love to let Sacagewea graze, but as she cannot see, this can be a problem. And of course there is no water yet. She has been here grazing while she was blind, so it's not so bad. And we can probably remove the stuff there in the center. And then we save defense posts instead of losing them, because she will run against them. And she damaged a little bit the fence over there. But those are options. And you see, here are the doggies. Here in the shade. This is the platform where in the future we want to have a container workshop. Now let's see how I can go through here. Okay, so that worked. Someone, I would assume it was the sheep, has been here. Therefore the path looked this way. So this is a Paulownia tomentosa. It does not get any irrigation, and it is looking okay, but of course suffered the same problem in early May. And over here are the other Paulownias, and yeah, these two there, they look pretty sad. They might be dead. So this here regarding Paulownia trees is basically a failed experiment. That wind that comes from that direction over there makes this very challenging. So this needs some other type of tree here, or more protection. But that's something that we can do in the future. I am just not yet in the know what type of tree species would be best here. Because I'm looking for fast growing stuff, so that I get shade as soon as possible. That's why I wanted to have Paulownias. And this here is the platform where we want to build the house and the workshop on top of. There is vetiver in there, but you cannot really see it because all the other stuff is there. But as long as the vetiver is somehow there, I believe it is doing its function. It's to stabilize this. It is not for harvest or something like that. So, of course I wish this would be green because of the vetiver, but well. So there you can see some vetiver. So it is there. But then it also needs some water, and this is being drip irrigated. So for a little while this is now being provided additional water to help the vetiver along, and maybe it will come out on top. Over there it also appears that there is some vetiver. But the platform has to be stable, that is the main purpose. So here you see the other part of the animal lane, and I'm now going through here, but I guess I need 2 hands for doing this properly. And then I show you that area, and then we go up there to make a switch where the shut-off valves are. So there we can turn one area off and another on, and by then it should be time for doing so.